Hello, everyone, and welcome back. It is time for the weekend review. I'm Ryan Bailey, and I am here to guide you through the high time frame setup for the week. So, this week is looking pretty interesting as we set up for the Santa Claus Rally. We held our very important, significant spot that we were eyeing hardcore down there at 6770 area, and we've launched. And so, the middle of last week was basically us setting up for more up as we kind of get primed for this week. So Santa Claus Rally in full effect. Let's figure out what we're going to buy, but we shouldn't be too complacent. There's always geopolitical concerns, but as of right now, it looks like we're going to get the typical up move. So let's get right into it. So as usual, like we've talked about for some time, we had this massive push up that basically sent us up like 350 points. And as you can see, after this massive move took place, we have sat sideways for a little over 3 weeks now, if you include this, basically 3.5 weeks. We've been distributing sideways, essentially building and accepting value as we continue to push higher. As you can see, we actually swept the previous 2 weeks high and this previous 2 weeks low this week. And this push down was essentially our catalyst for more potential up. So as you can see here, look, there's a point of control here, 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 here. We are building value straight across. In all actuality, we could add these together. And even this week, if I wanted to, and we'd have three massive overlapping values for the weekly time frame. So what we're going to be marking here and really kind of paying attention to is above below the previous weekly value area high 85. And then obviously down below 21, we start to have some issues. And the weekly point of control is going to be massive for us. And we have some serious support right here as well that we're going to watch, as well as multiple weeks overlapping value areas. So, overlapping point of controls. So this 68.46 area is just a absolute monster, and we will talk about that when we get into the chart here because this is a beast of a spot. So let's go ahead and get into the candlesticks. Actually, before I did that, I wanted to pull over the daily point TPO. As you can see, we have a large market inefficiency that takes us all the way up to 69.29, which is the edge of the rollover area here, and all this needs cleaned up. This is all a bad market in my opinion, which will obviously pop us above the previous weekly value area high. We have a very poor high here on Friday's structure. This really could just point us and push us right up into the 69.29, 69.30 area, as long as we stay above the previous weekly value area high. So I wanted to point this out to you and point out the inefficiencies above us. And also we have a huge buying tail on Friday's market as well. So we could potentially come back in here and clean this up as well. And so I just wanted to point this out to you. And now as we get into the higher time frame, so check this out. This is that 67.70 area here. I got this chart for the ETH daily here. It's a little bit cleaner, and I will show you what it looks like when we start to do some overlays here with some other stuff. But this was our massive area that I kept preaching that we needed to hold, otherwise it was going to get super duper ugly. And they did. And now we're popping back up, and more than likely, this is our setup for a bigger continuation higher. I am very bullish right now. I'm not really looking to the downside. Even though that we really truly haven't gained on the daily time frame yet. We did just gain on the 4 hour, and we still have not lost on the weekly. And so we are really kind of moving up. And as you can see here, this pullback, we played this massive weekly leg tip down here on the RTH time frame. And really, and you can't see it on the RTH candle because it happened in the middle of the night, but we got very close into this 68, 61 spot, as you can see here. And so this was just, they just popped super hard off of this area. So we're going to continue to look for more up right now. We'll talk about our big pivot areas when we come over to this daily time frame. But this is, looking pretty healthy right now for more up as we balance sideways, grab some liquidity, and come up. It is all really about this area here. So this 91 has been big for us, guys. This is our leg to the low right here. Be very important pivot for us to get above below. Our other one is really this 80 spot here. And, we played it nicely in the whole 9 yards. But when I come down to the lower time frame, I'll show you why it's important. We actually just played it Friday for the pop. But nothing is truly more important than the 91.25 right now. I went ahead and labeled it for us just so we knew how big of it was. This was a big spot for us. But if we are able to hold above the 68.91, there is no reason we shouldn't push into the 69.08 and 69.12 area. My only concern with this area all the way up into the 30s is this is all the rollover garbage. So once we get into this area above 91, I get a little sketched out. I'm really just, until we start to get some new price action here, I am simply looking to use these untested dailies that are clearly untested as can be as targets. But will they play? I don't know. And the reason I say is because we have the rollover data and just things are a little different. So until we get new price action here in this basically 40-point area, I am simply looking and referring to these as targets for now. We do have all this new price action after the rollover, so I've been able to lean on that. And our first untested spot that we've played multiple times is the 68.72 daily. Now, we just played this 80 daily at the close, but if they pull back and play 72, this could be a phenomenal trade setup, actually. If they pull back, hold 72, and then start to get back above our 83 weekly and our 91 daily, this thing can really, really push higher all the way up into these areas and ultimately new all-time highs, because that is essentially what we're coming for here. So, you know, a pullback like this and then something like this would be phenomenal. Okay, that's what I'm looking at, the 68.72 spot. And I have a 4-hour level at 67, which I'll show you. And if it doesn't, if this basically, you know, what I'm saying is you get long at 62, we stop out under 67.75. If it doesn't hold, then we know we're going to come down to 68.43 and try again. And I will show you once we get on the lower time frame. You know, worst case scenario, if they push below 43, and don't forget, 43 is the big weekly point of control that we talked about. It's also an untested daily. And if not, we come all the way down here in 67.94 and try this leg up. My only issue with this leg up is we haven't gained on the daily time frame. So I'd be a little cautious of this. I really want to see 72 go and push us. If we pull back into 43, I'll be very ambitious as well. But below that, I start to get a little concerned, even with this untested daily. And it makes this sweep down here into 65 look, oh, that much more sexy, which we talked about when we were, I don't know, must have been Wednesday or Thursday. I was hoping that we could have went down and re-swept this level, played our actual spot in the RTH, and then started to regain, but they didn't. So if they do push back under 94 and 88, essentially, look for a sweep of this low from Wednesday, play this, and accept back above this, and ultimately the 88.94 for a big move higher, okay? But right now, this looks like we're going to continue to keep coming up. I'd love to see 72 play and take us up here. We just need to watch this 68.91.25. It's going to be big, and I'm going to show you why, okay? So let me go ahead and pull over the 4-hour. So here you go. So this is the 67 I was telling you about. This was tested on Friday. Below this brings us down into this area. 52.75 is a 4-hour technically. It's also a 1-hour level. And then we have a 4-hour at 47. Okay, this 4-hour at 47 looks pretty good. And the reason I say that is because if you recall, we also have a daily at 43. So we have the 4-hour at 47, the daily at 43. I'll go ahead and do this little overlay so you can see. We have the weekly point of control at 46. And then the very nasty lasties is a 4-hour at 39.25 that I don't love, but it's there. And if that plays, I just want to see it immediately get back above 47 for our continuation higher and ultimately above 52.75. Guys, if this 52.75 plays, which I think it will, it could come back down after the pop, play this 43-47 area, get back above 52 for our actionable setup there as a confirmation that buyers are here. And then we got to get back through all this crazy resistance, essentially with the 68.67.25, and really back above this 83 and 91 spot. I mean, you can see how many times these areas have played over and over and over again. I mean, it's just a very highly confluent spot. And so we need to be aware that this is a very thick area for us to basically be above or below, right? And so, again, as you can see, once I hide everything else, it's the same level. You know, the daily was the 91.25, the 4-hour is the 93.25. It's pretty clear based on, you know, reactions that this is the next big level to push us back up into the 25 area. We are so very close to making all-time highs, it's not even funny. So, you know, in my opinion, I think we do one of these, or we could actually do one of these. Okay, I really think that's what's going to happen. However, it really all comes down, and I will just put it like this. Once we're underneath the 68.72, the 68.67 and 68.72, we start to get a little weak. But I really like this spot a lot. I would be looking for this to play. But really, once we get below this 43 and 68.39 area, we got a serious problem on our hands, right? So, because we could come down here, we start to get below the previous weekly value area low, and we would come back down and check out this 94.75. This is a monster spot, guys. So this is going to be our big pivot right here for our mid pivot, and then this is our high pivot, basically the 72 and ultimately the 93, right, or 68. So we want to, this is kind of this, so we can either go like this and push up, or we push down, and then we come here, and then we basically can come lower, or we pop here. And then if we come below 39, we got some issues. So that's what I got. I mean, I'll show you on the 1 hour too, just so you can see, get an idea of how clean it looks. You know, this area down here looks really good. This is the 52. I told you it's a 1 hour top down, and then ultimately the 47, 43 area. This is really good, but you can see the 67 was tested right here. So we want to see the 72 play, also yesterday's high, hold and go. Our stops could easily be under here, and then they would come back down here and we could try again. But, you know, that kind of shows you here, you can see, you know, they played the 80 daily, and they held this right here. So if they do come back down, we really just want to get back above 80 as soon as possible, and then 91.25 to bring us up into here. And again, like I said, if that doesn't happen, we start to come down. So you can kind of get a real clear picture of what's happening on the 1 hour. And then again, we have this spot down here at 94 that I don't love, but I will once we gain. If we could get the daily time frame to actually gain something, which would take a lot at this point, it would take a close up here for me. Once that happens, I'll be all about buying this again. But for now, I'm a little scared of it until we actually gain a level. And that's what I got. So we really want to stay above the 43 and ultimately 72 and make our progression up into the 08, 12, and even 30 area into new all-time highs, because in my opinion, it is coming. This thing looks like it's primed for more up. I just don't know how shallow the pullback or deep the pullback's going to be before we make our next progression up. So I think it's pretty clear what we're seeing here. Lots of support here, lots of support here. Let's take us above this 93 spot for more highs. So that's what I got. You know, it's pretty self-explanatory. The charts are pointing up. VIX is looking down. You know, coming into the Santa Claus Rally, which is pretty typical stuff for the end of the year. I would expect some low volume as we come into the holiday season. Probably going to be a lot of grind up. I don't know that. It's pure speculation. But I know a lot of people are busy right now, taking time off. As you know, funds come into the end of the year and CTAs, they're doing a lot of rebalancing and tax loss harvesting and just a lot of things to get ready for the end of the year. This is not usually one of the most active times to trade, but we're going to look for setups regardless as we continue to try to traverse into these new all-time highs. It really wouldn't surprise me if we hit new all-time highs by New Year's, and that way Trump can be like, oh yeah, look at, again, finish the year at a new high, God bless, right? I just have a feeling that that's what we're going to see. So whatever, again, if we know the levels were wrong, and we know the levels where we continue to keep pointing up. So that's it. That's what I got for you. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. I will see you guys in the Discord room Monday morning, and then on Tuesday for the trade plan. Also, tomorrow at 5 o'clock Eastern Time, I will see you for the post-market breakdown. If you haven't signed up for the trade plans yet, check out the 30-day linked to get free trade plans for 30 days. You simply cannot afford not to do this. So you guys have an excellent, excellent weekend, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Cheers.